Evening, hello, or good morning. I don't know what time you're watching this, but welcome to this conversation on navigating loneliness for single women. Me and Pastor Tando, who will shortly join us, are going to be having this conversation as a means to hold your hand as your sisters and share with you our experiences in hopes that you too will learn from what we have learned. Good evening, everybody. How are you today? How was work? How was staying home? How was, the day for you? I had a good day. The Lord has been good, and I'm excited. I've been excited to have this conversation, and I said to God, take over, all right? You know why you've brought Tanda and I together to have this conversation. Take over and speak as you will speak. I think Tanda should be requesting to join, not yet. Not my aunt requesting to join. Hello, Rakhadi. She's here. She wants to request to join. Tanda, are you here before we begin? And as everybody pours in, please make it known to me whether or not you're here, Tando. Then we can try to have you jump on. There she goes. This Instagram better not plaza us, you know what I mean? I have accepted you, my love. Oh, there she is. Hello, Gorge.
Hey y'all.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are y'all?
I'm good. Are we wearing the same top?
Hey, where we are.
What a coincidence.
Ready. Ready.
Now I want to wear mine down though. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I was tired this whole day, but I'm gathering myself to have this conversation. So I'm here, showing up, serving, gonna have a bomb conversation. I wanted to start by saying we're back. It's been a minute since we were here, doing our Umjolo series, and this is somewhat a continuation. Is it a continuation, friend? Are we continuing?
We're continuing with the conversation, right? Single women, the most beautiful people on earth.
The most beautiful. You're crowning as my sister. Hi, what happened? Now it's saying Tundra is unable to join. I don't know what's going on, you guys. Are you guys seeing the technical difficulty I'm seeing right now? Because from what I can tell, Tando's frozen, and I literally don't know how to remedy that. Let me accept her again and see what happens. There she goes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this is a continuation that we were. Today, my friend, we're talking about loneliness, all right? And as I was leading up to this conversation, I was asking God, like, God, who is this conversation for? And I wrote a little something, I can be a writer sometimes. So I want to read it out for all of us so we are all on the same page as to who we're speaking to, what we're going to be speaking about. It says, this conversation is for sisters who haven't heard their phone ring in a while. It is for my sister who thought she would be married by now with the pitter patter of kids in the background. It's for the woman who held on to her marriage until she couldn't anymore and she had to brave solitude to survive. It is for the woman who suffers ambiguous grief with no evidence of loss, but all the weight of it. It is for the woman who has a partner but continues to feel a deep emptiness. This conversation is for Hagar. It is for the wife rejected in her youth. It is for those who are waiting to taste and see that the Lord is good in the land of the living. Amen. It felt like a prayer to me. Why is this Instagram doing this to us today? I don't understand. Tando,
I don't
I
know
don't know.
why I keep getting kicked out.
Yeah, may it not do that in the name of Jesus. Jesus be a stable connection, all right? Because We don't need that too. Did you hear my beautiful love
I
letter to?
heard the whole thing.
Okay, so this is what this conversation is about and who it is for. And I look forward to us going there. Um, and actually speaking frankly about loneliness. I think so often we want to be strong and put up a face as though we don't feel this emotion. So today I'm taking the mask off like this. Like Batman on that side, let's be real, let's be authentic and truthful about our experiences with this emotion. And my first question to you, my friend, is what in your eyes is loneliness? Like if somebody said, what is loneliness? What would you say?
Um, it takes me to the conference that we just had in Cape Town that was about singleness, and we had a panel. It was lovely. We had it was just a lovely conference. But there was a panel at the end, and one of the ladies stood up and said, "How do we deal with loneliness?" Okay,
Mm,
we've spoken about singleness, we've spoken about our purpose, and but how do we deal with loneliness?
mm,
And I was led to put her mind at ease. So I shared my own experience. And I said to her, I feel lonely sometimes.
mm,
As I said to her, I was like, this is a very normal feeling,
mm.
right? I explained to her that I was living in a foreign country and I felt like a real single parent there.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
was sort of unattached to anybody. And I remember like going to go buy a car and like there was nobody around, and that's normal.
yeah,
Um, I also felt like I was purposefully being isolated for a season post my divorce. Um, and so I needed sort of like to really deal with that and the healing around that as well. But I
mm,
want to put people at ease. Feeling lonely sometimes, it is normal.
mm.
We both feel it. We are on fire for God and we are preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ and we are in ministry and we have great jobs and careers. We love our children. We're desirable as women and but sometimes we feel lonely.
Yeah,
That's okay. And I
mm,
don't want you to feel like if I feel lonely, something is wrong in my life
mm.
or that I shouldn't be in the season. So I think like with loneliness, in terms of defining it, I think it's sort of that moment where you crave that sort of proximity to somebody, crave that support, crave that sharing. Like you remember we spoke about this thing of like you come home and you just continue to keep quiet.
Yes, it's like eat
like you
your feet in the morning.
like, you know what I mean? Like you're at the grocery store at Woolworths and you were quiet and you get home and you're just continuing to be quiet. And I struggle with that a lot, like coming home and then like nothing is happening. Like whether I cook or not, it's no biggie, it's just me and my son and or maybe he's not even there because he's older now and sort of has his own life going on. Or maybe with you in your case, maybe your child's with the other parent and it's
Yeah.
just you continuing just to, and so it's that thing of like, I wish I had this to share with somebody. I wish I wish somebody was here to share this with me. You know what I mean?
I
And
want
that
somebody
is normal.
to warm my feet in the winter time. I'm struggling. Can't go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, you said everything. I think we do feel lonely too. And I think as you so normalized it, it is normal and it's an indication of there is a need, right?
Yeah.
It's that's what our emotions function to do is to signal needs. But I think sometimes we feel so ashamed, right? Because people want us to say, God is, people want us to say, He will never leave me nor forsake me, and spiritually bypass the reality of, no, I'm actually sad about this right now.
Yeah.
Well, especially with us women, I think, friend, our period has a lot to do with
Oh
my
yeah.
cycles of
Oh yeah.
craving. Like it depends where I am in my period. If
Yeah.
if I am ovulating, hello?
Yeah.
If I am on my actual period, because I feel so vulnerable and needy, And I think it's important for us to be aware, especially as women, of when we are the most vulnerable to this emotion.
Yeah.
Because the hormones have a lot to do with it, and also how you feel in your body, you know? Um, I would say loneliness is, and I Googled it, right? So now I'm going to sound smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love this definition. I saw it on a psychological article that said that loneliness is a state of distress or discomfort that results when one perceives, which I thought was such an interesting word,
Mm-hmm.
perceives a gap between one's desires for social connection and actual experiences of it. I love this definition because it's talking about perception.
Mm.
Has it ever happened to you, friend, that you are in a room full of people but you feel so lonely?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you literally with it, let me say, have you ever been in a relationship and you feel so lonely,
I
right?
think that's one's very important because you can even feel more lonely when you expect to be supported, expect to be loved, but there's a human, like there's an actual body, but you're not getting that, you know.
Yeah.
And somebody just commented here and said, "Can you be married and lonely?" Absolutely.
Oh,
There are married single
um,
parents. There are more married single parents than
oh,
anything. Um, and it's heavier because there's an other extra person here who
yeah.
is not fulfilling sort of the needs that you thought they would fulfill, right?
Yes. I think that's the loneliest I've ever felt.
Mm.
But when there is a person I expected to show up in a particular way and they didn't. And for me, that stems even into childhood, you know, even before we come into adulthood and the other things with boys and all of those other things, just wanting and wishing people, friends, family would show up in a particular way and they don't has been the times that I felt the loneliest. But
Yeah,
I wanted to talk about perception because I figured out that truly it is in your mind, right? That feeling of loneliness is very much a mental battle and one that if you have a change of perspective, you could still be in the same situation but feel less lonely, right?
exactly. Yeah,
So it's almost like you determine the level of lonely that you feel,
absolutely.
the perception. And I've found even now because girls up life post divorce can be so lonely.
Mm.
Okay. Um and there's times where I'm like, man, I just need my man to find me, Lord. Like
Yeah,
tired of sleeping alone in this double bed. Like, what do you mean all this room? What do you mean I'm sleeping like a starfish, Lord? I
yeah,
want to extend a hand and bump into somebody. Come
yeah.
on. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? And
Yep.
I God, friend, on the really dark days, right? When I'm like, okay, the scriptures ain't working, the prayers ain't working today, I'm in the pits of loneliness today. I sometimes say, but Abba, I understand you're with me, but I need somebody in this bed, Lord.
Yeah,
I know you are great, ne? And I love you so much, and I serve you, Jesus. But I'm gonna need somebody to physically be here in this bed, Jesus. All right. And those are the times where I've literally felt like, yes, God is there, and I share, and I have a very intimate relationship with God. But there is still that yearning in me to have somebody. Granted, it's far and few in between, but when it gets bad, it gets really bad.
yeah,
Um, but then I wake up the next day and all of a sudden I'm okay again.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
grateful that the Holy Spirit helps me
Mm.
carry myself through those nights, all
Yeah,
right, when it's really, really hard to come to terms with my perceived reality, you know? And that's why I'm also intrigued by this thing called ambiguous grief, where you literally are mourning the absence of something, not necessarily that you had it and you lost it, but the fact that your life isn't where you wanted it to be, relationshipically speaking, the fact that you at an age where you thought you would be married, or you are in a situation where I never thought I'd be divorced, right? And so I'm grieving my current circumstance that I hate it here, Lord. Like I really do. Like I don't like what this
yeah,
is doing. Okay, I understand we're being pruned. You know, I understand I'm in a season of solitude, and yes, I need it for what you're working in me. But some days I'm not okay, man. I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Absolutely. And I think it's so good to speak about what you said, the perceived and the feeling.
Mm.
Because, and I speak, as you know, I like to speak about your feelings versus the truth.
Come on.
Because the truth is that you're not, you might be doing something alone, but loneliness is a different sort of expression of that, right? And I think that in terms of the feelings, right? What is the real truth? And the truth could be for you as a young woman or a young man out there that you've been using friends as a filler and not actually doing life with them. I've been enjoying absolutely, and that's why people don't see friendships as valuable, because for them it's like, you're
Uh,
just here for now. I'm still getting my man. I'm still gonna find my person. I'm still gonna, and so there's no sort of real investment in we're doing life together. And for me, I struggle now to be alone. I
mm,
struggle now to, the loneliness has no almost, there's no almost space for it, because I am doing life with people, and not just the good parts. It's not, having friends isn't the baby showers, isn't just that. It's not
mm,
just the trip to
rival.
Cape Town and
Yeah.
whatever. It's the grieving together, right? That ambiguous grief.
Mm,
I've experienced that in such a different way, doing it with my sisters and being like, man, look where we are right now, like, and
mm,
just sort of sharing that together, right? Because that's what I said in the beginning in terms of what I think loneliness is. It's missing sharing poignant moments, and I think sharing together and being like, girl, remember, I remember I was with my friend in Cape Town this past weekend, and her and I've been friends since 2016, if 2015 or whatever, so more than 10 years. And her and I sort of really love coming together around the topic of um, grieving what could have been and what was.
yeah.
There's something about it that is still healing, because I'm not sitting at home going, oh, maybe I should go back to that boyfriend or whatever. There's that perspective of, girl, you're so much better now, though.
Mm.
Like, I
Ah,
know that your marriage ended, but this
mhm,
is,
mm,
and I know that boyfriend was whatever, but remember, this is what you're looking for in a man. But grieving together is fun and being like, cheers. Remember when we was, and her and I remember this other time, her and I were dating brothers.
ah,
Story for another day, all the way in London.
mm,
But, looking back now, we're like, we could never be with those kind of people now. That was almost 10 years ago. But grieving together and sort of being happy together and also just doing nothing together. Like,
mm.
I saw this other post about um, how we as friends want to always show up aesthetically, right? We always want to
Oh,
show up
right.
aesthetically because it
About
has to be.
that. About
Because it has to be aesthetically pleasing when we're together. It has to be the matching outfits, or it has to be
Instagrammable.
Instagrammable. But
Mm,
there's moments where you're going to come into my house. I haven't done any dishes. My hair's not done. I'm
mm,
having a fight with my co parent. And you're going to be here sharing that with me right now. And that's real friendship. It's sort of like, and that's real community. So building that community is so important in a real, genuine way, and being like, come and share and see that Tano like the isn't just the person at the pulpit that you see on Sundays. It's not just the person that you see on Monday morning prayers. And Miss Moss isn't the
mm,
TikTok girly who's always sort of so eloquent. But
mm,
sometimes she's like, girl, today,
mm.
today, when you're like, today,
My sister.
yeah.
Mm,
And you
hey.
were right about times of the month. Because I'll tell you now,
Mm,
I miss my ex at certain times of the month. Other times of the month, I'm like, what a scrub. What what was I doing? Like, and then the next couple of weeks, I'm like, I miss my man, y'all. I miss my man. The same scrub.
It's
So
so
see,
stupid for me. You know what, Tando? You said so many important things. Esther Perel said something that stood out to me. She said, our generation is the most globally connected generation, but we are the same people who struggle to find somebody to look after our cat. So we literally are so connected. We're having multiple conversations online via WhatsApp, commenting on each other's statuses, but we're not doing life together. And I think that is what's killing us, is we don't have community. Even our church is not community anymore. We are people who dress up and go to church on a Sunday, sit, listen to a sermon, worship, and go home. There's nobody who holds your hand and actually asks you, are you okay? I remember you were saying this last week. Can we go out for drinks? Can we go to dinner together? Can I come take care of you? Can I? That we don't have that anymore. And so I feel like the absence of a partner becomes even more painful because we are lacking in other communal connections. And so we're trying to wait for this one person who's going to be the answer to our loneliness. And you're holding out until this man comes. And by the way, when he comes, you're going to overburden him because now you're looking for him to be the solution to your internal hello stuff. That sometimes, I'll be honest, my issues with loneliness, they come from childhood. That's where they emanated from. And only now in therapy, when I'm dealing with that, do I feel less lonely, even in the arena of not having a spouse at this time. I am able to carry myself and understand that it's a perceived thing that I've been going through, and it's not true, because I'm healing the actual parts of me that ache without distracting and putting a man in the shape of that loneliness, right? Because that's what we tend to do. We bring men into our lives to remedy something that's long standing. And truly doing the work and addressing those wounds and allowing them to be aerated and then healed, for the first time, I think in my life, am able to sit and be like, yeah, I'm lonely today. And it's not like, I'm, you know what I mean? The level comes down a notch when I deal with the other wounds that I used men to numb. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I really would advise the ladies who are watching this, if your loneliness is debilitating, it might not just be the absence of somebody in your life. It may be the presence of wounds that you need to remedy.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And men out there as well who are watching, because there are men. I saw them commenting here. But I totally agree, because I think there's always a deeper situation going on. And what you'll find is that I know a lot of married people. I've got four sisters and they're all married. Um, but my whole thing is that, like, what you'll find, even when you find somebody or somebody finds you, when you don't have friends, it's still not a good look. Like, you still need friends even when you'll be married one day. Like, you still need friends. I always talk about the fact that, it's your sisters who are going to be holding you up when you're changing your husband's diaper, because that time is coming. And may
Yeah.
God grace you when that time comes. And hopefully you'll be able to have the privilege of being able to change your husband's diaper one day. That's a privilege, by the way. That's a privilege to be able to fulfill your vows in that way. But the people who will be holding you up will be
Mhm.
your sisters. So if you think you're going to be like, it's the girlies right now, but when my man comes, I'm going to exchange. No, no,
Mhm.
no. You both need to still have your communities. He still needs to have his bros, the married men around him who are going to hold him up and hold him accountable and cry with and do things with the boys, whatever. And you need your sisters who are going to hold you up and sort of navigate life with, continuing in your marriage. And so I think that even with us sort of looking at choosing partners, right? And that's why there's like this pressure, this like mild pressure in that marriage is a blessing. And so when something looks like marriage, you jump at it. But no, 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 no. The person you'll be marrying will be a blessing. And so if the person that you're with is not compatible with you, if the person that you're with is somebody that you stooped down and dropped your standards for, right? Then that's not going to be a blessing. But people think that marriage is a blessing. Any marriage with any man or any woman will be a blessing. And that's not the truth. The blessing will be your person. If it's your person who's going to catapult you into the destiny that God has for you, then it's a blessing. But marriage in itself can't just be a blessing. There's nothing that it has that can for it to be a blessing. It has to be the person that God has fashioned for you. And you and I know this. We've
Oh,
been married before, but we weren't blessed. Can we just talk about that?
recently I was on TikTok on a live, and I literally heard the following words come out of my mouth. the devil can be a matchmaker too. Are you hearing me? And that relationship can be a weapon formed against you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, it might prosper. So you are so right, so on the money, my friend. The marriage itself is not the blessing, it is the person you share in that covenant with who has the capacity to make it the blessing that God intended, right?
Absolutely.
Yandi Yayas asks us, but what do you do when that particular someone decides to view your profile on Truecaller? Yet you are both in no contact and you're still trying to heal. Be like, Satan, you are tempting me. So Yandi, oh yeah, Goisha, because they were supposed to be in no contact with this man. Loneliness is gnawing at her in the background. This man is now viewing, what is he? They're viewing the profile. So there's a temptation element. Of course, the enemy is going to exploit your loneliness, babe. It's one
And
of his.
also, yeah, let's not blame the enemy too much. Like, literally, it's it's after work hours. The enemy's now he's preparing for bed. He's just
Yeah.
like, why am I being in this? Why am I in this conversation now? Like, yeah, lala go.
Yeah.
Like also, I feel like if there was intention behind trying to mend things, a person would mend things,
Mm,
and men can do things. You know what I mean? Like we always treat men like, oh, well, he doesn't know any better. Oh,
mm,
he needs help. I should be more intentional. No, no, no. When he is starting his business,
yeah.
nothing else matters.
Have you ever
When
seen a start a business
nothing else
intentional
matters. Nothing else matters. And so this is the whole
focus?
thing of like trying to assist somebody, being like, oh, maybe I should just ask them where we stand, where I stand with him. Your stalker knows exactly where you stand with him. Your
Mm,
stalker will come to you. Like I'm talking about mild stalkers. I'm not talking about maybe like an illegal stalker, but somebody who's like let me start here.
mm,
Every woman, especially you, Miss Moss, every woman has a man that wants them, but they don't want that man. All right? Every single woman has a man who's half decent. Listen, who would be great for somebody else, but you don't want them. And there's nothing that they could do that would make you desire them. But that person, knowing that you've given them no sign that you like them back, knowing that you've not opened the door, you've not given them, but they continue to show you desire. They are consistent. They send you the DMs. They want to take you on a date. They listen. I even had a person fly. I had somebody fly all the way to Cape Town from Joburg just to come and support me with ministry. And I'm just saying, people can do that, and that's not the first time that's happened before. But
yeah.
apparently, the guy that you like, yeah, nah, needs to be texted. Why? Even the man that you're not interested in is out here doing the most. The person that does want you and you want them back should be doing even more than the guy that you don't like. Should be you shouldn't have to decipher and be like, well, maybe this is a sign. Well, they posted that song and those lyrics look like they're towards me, they're directed to me. Or well, maybe he did want to he didn't. He didn't want to do anything. He's and the enemy is not even using him. He's just living. Do you know what I mean?
He's just being
He's
himself.
just being himself, guys. Like,
Himself. I mean, he's doing what works for him, dude. One of my friends said, my sister, this man is communicating, receive it, accept it, my sister. Oguti, you're not worth the effort. That's why he's not putting in any. Because you're right, my friend. Like, why I gotta go for that one who don't want me? And I'm busy, like, texting, being blue ticked. What do you mean? Because there's a man who will fly to Cape Town. My sister, I don't know who needs to hear this. Tando said there's a man who will fly to Cape Town to support you. Okay? So,
absolutely. That's my reality. I live in those kind of
yeah.
realities. Like I
Yeah.
don't get shocked when things like that happen because I know I'm worth it. And
Yeah.
even the CEO that was quoted at the Coldplay concert, a whole CEO of a huge
Come
billion-dollar company had time for his bay. What does your man that you want do that he can't have
That's
time
like
to text you
making a
back?
CEO, baby. He ain't even CEOing, and he don't got no time to text. And that's why you feel lonely in that relationship. Just by the way, it's because this person will literally disappear for 3 days because they're studying, or this person will disappear for 5 days, come up, and you don't know where they've been, and that's why you're lonely, baby. So sometimes you gotta leave so you feel less lonely. Is somebody
Exactly. You're being rejected, but
oh,
you're not being rejectable. And being able to, I know it hurts, but allowed to be rejected. And I'm talking about, and somebody right now is going, no, she's not talking about that guy. I'm literally talking about that guy that you have questions over. Like, that is he interested? Could this be a thing? There is no man who would let his woman Adwanguze on these streets, not knowing where she stands with him. There's no man. There's
mm,
no man who would do that. He would never risk you being taken out on a date by somebody else. He would never risk you being swept off your feet by another man if you are his woman. And he knows if you are his woman or not. So if he's letting you go on dates with other people or letting your mind wonder where he is, why isn't he responding? It's because he doesn't care that much. And if you keep forcing things, he's going to make you a placeholder
mm.
until he gets the woman that he really wants.
And then you're gonna be lonely. Having spent 5 years on somebody, now you feel like you lost time. Now the loneliness is even higher because you're grieving the loss of somebody who never wanted you. Now time has passed. Now it just you're piling onto the wounds, and now the loneliness is gonna be skyrocketing. And next
Absolutely.
loneliness turns into depression, because that's the thing, friend. Loneliness is not something, especially if now it becomes frequent. We said it's normal, but there gets a point where it's no longer normal and it's actually life threatening. Loneliness is known, friend, to cut your life expectancy. It can give you diseases, all right? And so it's not something that, yes, it's normal in doses, but once it becomes your I want to say your norm, like you're consistently in a state of loneliness, that's when you need to start asking for help, because that's not normal, that's not okay. You need to get
Absolutely.
to a place where, despite you being alone, loneliness is not your reality, right? And that means you look for ways to find connection outside of the one, all right? Tando's already taught us friendship is huge, community is huge. I find serving other people also helps a lot. If
Mm-hmm.
you actually spend time doing something for other people, one, you are bound to create relationships doing that. That's the first thing. You're gonna have community while you serve. So if you're struggling really badly, find somewhere to serve. I found that really helps. And also, friend, I found that praying those lamentations type prayers, you know, those ones that,
Mm-hmm.
why have you forsaken me? What those lamentation type prayers, and actually bearing your soul to God, that works wonders. Because I think the problem with us sometimes is we don't want to be children. We want to be prayer warriors 24/7, 365.
Yeah, and you can't, guys.
And you gotta
Actually.
be a child of God, all right? You are a child, you're a son, you're a daughter. And one thing sons and daughters do is throw tantrums to their dad, all right? And so I find, friend, that if I throw a tantrum and I'm really just telling God the realness of the situation, like how I actually feel, all the non-powerful things to say, right? Not the I am more than a conqueror. Actually saying, Lord, I'm weak today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Believe your word today. I'm struggling to understand that you say that you will make it possible for me. I'm doubting, and just doing that does wonders for my soul. And recently I learned the technique of also journaling to God, which has revolutionized my life. It's like
Absolutely.
journaling and then reading that out loud is like having a conversation with God. So for some people who, like you, were remote, like in remote parts of the world, we're so blessed in that we're able to go into places all over the globe. But I even have clients in my coaching practice who are abroad, and they literally are struggling because of language barrier, because of just not knowing and being new to a place, create survive loneliness.
Absolutely.
If you cannot find belonging in the Godhead, you will struggle, because yes, these connections, external connections, are nice and great to have, but there comes a time where sometimes your friends desert you. All right, that's a reality. That happened to me during my divorce, where I
Mm.
lost key friendships, people that even were in my bridal shower photos, people who were at my wedding, people
Yeah.
who I considered sisters for years, and I found myself alone and missing key friendships. But God blessed me with even I want to say even better, but it sounds like a bit spicy, but truly they are better friendships, people who are doing life with me now. But there was a season where God was my true and only friend, and I had to personify him for me to almost hear from him as I speak to him and bare my soul to him. So another way that I think is important and vital for all of us, because children you can lose, spouses you can, friends you can lose. You gotta have intimacy with God, and real
Absolutely.
intimacy, not a facade of strength and prayer worship, but actual intimacy with your dad as a daughter or a son.
Absolutely. And community does not replace the relationship with God. I think that's really, really important to sort of mention that when we say build your community, we're not saying that it's either or, right? We speaking on the basis of the fact that we have a strong relationship with God, and that on top of that, we're building also strong brotherhoods, strong sisterhoods that sort of help us to navigate
Yeah.
these parts of life together. Somebody just mentioned something about, and I find that this is such a theme. I have older friends than I am. I'm 36 years old, but I do have older friends than I am. But I remember a friend of mine in California, a very close friend of mine. We were sort of navigating the dating space, and what we were realizing is that we were attracting much younger men. And she was asking about a younger man. And I think sometimes there is that sort of weird territory that you can step into, because the messaging to women has been that with age,
Comes.
you you are not desirable.
A lie from the enemy.
Yeah, it's such a lie. And
From
and
the
and also, and
mm,
in fact, what I've found is that men are the ones who become less desirable with age, and men need money to keep younger women around. But younger women would never do it unless they're getting paid.
mm,
But it's so weird because
mm,
the messaging has been that us as women are less desirable the older we get, whatever. The kind of caliber of men that I have access to now at my age and sort of where I am in life is much wider than when I was much younger, 10 years ago, for instance, when I was 26.
mm.
But now I could date a 50-year-old, and I could also date a 25-year-old, really, and even marry one. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, not because you want to be a cougar or whatever, no. But what I found is that younger men, because of these conversations that we have, are a little bit more intentional about healing,
I pro-
therapy.
mm.
There's like there's
Young,
so much more
young
like
boys are
intentional.
different. These
They are
2000
different, friend, and
boys,
they actually are not interested in being toxic people.
no.
They face grief head on. And I know this because I also teach a lot of young people, and the young boys that are coming up now are so different. They're emotional in such a healthy way. They deal with grief, they deal with their childhood trauma, they are done with the toxic sort of traits of hypermasculinity, and they go to therapy, and they're intentional about family as well. I
My
found
sister
when
tells
we were at,
me things, guys.
it's
You
very
know,
true.
with my
When we were,
and right now, we are shocked. Both of us are just like, is this real life? The boys, they're doing the
it's
thing.
very true. And what you'll see is there's a big trend as well with women who are slightly older, married to younger men. A lot of the people that you sort of admire on social media, when you look deeper, most men are actually younger. And that wasn't a trend before, but now it is. And so don't limit yourself. It's because you've been taught that why is he, you almost suspicious. Why does he find me desirable? Why am I attracted to him? He wants to use me. He wants to, it's not always the case.
Yeah,
Because you should have your eyes peeled for that kind of thing, even with older guys or guys your age.
yeah.
So open yourself up and be like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get to know this person, their intention, and it's sort of communicating. And so we're gonna see a trend for sure, with people with marriages where women are slightly older. And I know a lot of people as well who are married in that way, very close people to me, where men are slightly younger. So don't feel like that. You're getting hotter.
I know that's right. Let me tell you something. The truth.
You are.
I know that's right. And I even feel it this time. I think when you're younger, there's also so much insecurity. You're still trying to figure, you're becoming, right? So you're not on steady ground in terms of who you are in your womanhood. But now you can't tell me nothing. Like, you can't tell me nothing. I know, and I know, and I know what I know. But definitely,
Absolutely.
something is happening with the young men. and I need to overcome some programming so I can look back because I keep looking forward. And let me tell you something that's not true. Age is not equal to maturity. I want to tell you now for free 99.
Mm.
I've met some 40-year-old men that I'm just like, are we 16? Are we 16? Because I don't see the age experience matching the thoughts and the behavior and the attitude. You know what I mean? So, Vela, maybe I need to take a little bit of a look back and say, what are the 2000s saying to me these days? Because
Absolutely.
you know what? Men are shocking, you know? Like they're just shocking. And that's why even now, I keep saying I'm single, and right now that's what I want to be, because I don't have the energy right now to go look for a needle in the haystack. Okay, I want the needle to come magnetically towards me. I want
Yo,
the
that's the word of God.
Yes, I want the needle to come to me because I don't have the energy to be going on dates after day. I'm just that person. I can't imagine it. It's a lot to ask of me. And right now I'm just like, Lord, bring him to me. I'm gonna need you to
Yeah.
bring him to me. Um and
and
I
and that's the season that you're in right now, and God can meet you where you're at,
yeah,
right? For instance, with me, I'm more interested in going on dates
yeah,
right now in my season. Well, like sort of, yeah, I work out a lot. I want to look good. I like dressing up, and I like being spoiled. And so I enjoy sort of going on dates and getting to know somebody in that sort of setup. And also, I want to see your investment. I want to see, I want to see you, man, as a man. I want to sort of see
I'm so
yeah, like what you bring to the table, man. Like,
serious.
and I think, yeah, I think like a sort of dating and going out is a great sort of platform for you to sort of show yourself as a man, but this is who I am, and this is what I have to offer, and this is sort of the experience that I'm bringing you into my life, and this is what I'm offering.
Mm,
But it depends what season you're in. Don't force yourself to sort of be like, well, Tando's sort of in the season where she's dating whatever, and so that's where I, even if I don't feel like that's the season that I'm in, no, sort of God will meet you where you are. But do not think that if you're in the house every weekend, you sit at the back at church and then leave straight after the service. You don't serve in your local church. You don't introduce yourself to anybody. Every single guy who says anything, everything is demonic, everything's a spirit, everything's whatever. Like it's not gonna happen. You're gonna stay a Buddhist prayer warrior. But at the end of the day, it's flesh becoming one. And
mm.
so and here you're not building ibandla, you're building a family, and it's flesh
No.
becoming one.
We're not building a church, we're building a family.
Exactly. So, as something that Pastor Jay said on the weekend, he said, because he was talking from a man's perspective, and he's a single guy, which I really appreciated, because we sometimes take married pastors and have them speak on singleness, and I think that's a fault, because I don't know what's going on in your house. I don't want to,
Yeah.
but he's a single guy, and he was like, you know what, I feel like sometimes if I'm connecting with the lady, um, don't like be too with me. If I say, "Hey, I listen to Kwaito," yeah, I like Kwaito sometimes. Don't be so spiritual with me in that you are like, well, you're not godly, you're not, but and then sort of block what could be, because now we're not connecting on that level. At the end of the day, we're getting to know each other. He said flow, and then he also said some of the men that are at church, you might not be looking at them because they're not acting spiritual. They're not acting maybe like your pastor. Maybe they don't pray like in tongues or whatever, but they're still godly men. They're devoted. They're there. They're showing up. They're trying. They whatever. And so, if in all of that, you could maybe find something there that you might be surprised by. But sometimes when we think of like, say, Miss Moss, you are an influential person. You are impactful in our community, in the Christian influencing community, and everything. And maybe people envision, and this is what people do to me over time.
Oh,
Well,
let me
I see you with the this type of person, and I don't like it when people do that, because like they will pick like a pastor type of person because they feel like, oh, that should gel well with what you have or what. No, that's not.
mm,
That's not. That's not. usually, and sometimes the person who could best support me could be somebody who's doing something else, you know. Oh, it could be somebody who's just like me and is sort of out there and whatever, but maybe it's not. So even with like you as well in the church or in your community, there could be a guy who's, you know, out there devoted at church, maybe, you know, who does the parking and, you know, during the service and he helps people park, but he's not necessarily preaching. But doesn't necessarily mean he's not a godly man.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, Tando. This is why I do these conversations with you because you bring the truth. It's true. I think we overlook sometimes because they are not packaged the way that we think a godly man needs to be packaged. And I think that's where maybe then dating comes in for you to actually see into this person's life and you start to see that actually there's a lot more to this person than what comes off at face value. Um, Personally, I find that I have the thing where men come to me very spiritual, right? Because clearly that's
Hmm.
me, and what they see me do here online, and I'm just a girl.
I'm just
I'm
a girlfriend.
a
Like
girl,
I am just a
and
girl. Like I cannot
you,
with the like
I want you to make me laugh, and I want to
exactly.
and I want to like laugh at Bongi on TikTok.
You
Make
know
me
what I mean? Yes. I
hello.
want to send you memes.
How are you, Fungi? I'm good. Like, and I think because my content is so serious, like a lot of my videos are, I would say serious, which is so different from who I am in my personal life. I'm a goofball for days,
For
and
days,
I realize
friend.
that people don't like men are expecting "Mam from DC," and I come in, I'm like, and they're like, uh, they buffer a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
I struggle in that people struggle to humanize me, when they come to me. I'm this perfect, which I'm very far from it. Let me just say for it. But I want a man who loves me and not Miss Moss. Does that make sense? I want
Hmm.
a man who celebrates me and not the work that I do. And I suppose that's the downside of being public the way that I am is now I'm met with that. On top of all the other things, I'm met with the expectation of being Memphis 24/7. And I just want a man who's gonna love Musidi.
Yeah. I
This
think because I think also I do have a slightly different experience in that my social media is still personal. It's still I don't, there's no organization. I'm not organized. I don't really plan the stuff I'm gonna say. I don't plan the things I'm gonna do. So I still have leeway to be like, hey guys, this is what happened, da, 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 da. And people sort of see into, so I'm still privileged in that way, which I'd love to keep it that way because I've never really asked anybody to follow me. And so if they don't like it, like it's okay. Like they can unfollow me.
time.
And so I feel like also with friendship, right? A lot of women, because I do a lot of singleness stuff, and they see me at church maybe or whatever, sort of approach me with that thing of like, do you want a prayer warrior friend? And like that's good, but I still want a girl's girl. Like I want to like a chilled vibe. Like I think some people get close to me and they're like, oh,
Mm,
like oh, Tando's gonna be like Tando. I'm like, I'm gonna be Tando. If you're gonna be my friend, we're gonna
yeah,
be real,
it's
because I have to show up as a leader
mm,
at work. I had to show up as a leader at church. I had to show up as a leader in my family. I'm a single mother. I'm a leader in my family, in my household. I'm a leader. And so even with friendship and with dating, the man who is going to be with me understands that he needs to have experience leading leaders.
mm.
You know what I mean? He needs to have experience leading leaders because I'm not I'm trying to be led. I'm
I'm
not
trying
I
to
don't I'm
please,
trying to
sir,
submit. I
sir,
can't wait to submit.
please. Like,
I lead in every area of my life. I cannot wait to submit. I
oh,
can't wait. You know what I mean? And just be a girl's girl in some man's hands. Because
please,
I lead everywhere. And so, but
yes,
the last thing I'm going to do is come home
lead
and
at
lead again.
home. Oh,
Do you know
for
what I mean?
real. No, listen. Okay, so I started this thing of writing my future husband letters. Corny, but I enjoy it.
I,
Um,
I'll, I'll only forgive that because you journal to God. But
yeah.
people who write letters to their future husbands but don't write letters to God, what are you doing? Carry on.
You're showing us where your heart lies, yeah?
Exactly.
Um, yeah, I've started this thing of writing to my future husband. And for some reason, I chose to call him man of God because what I'm not going to do is be with a man who's not a man of God. I'm not going to do that to me. I'm not going to do that to my kids. Okay?
Into your
So,
future.
yeah, so I write to men of God all the time. And I just keep saying, I can't wait to submit. I can't wait. My say, Honorable Conqueror, Prophet, I'm here. Come on, I'm ready to submit to you, my brother. So I just wanted to add that as a oh, uh,
Ogu, ogu.
so my friend, what would you want to leave as the final word? Because we have 9 minutes left for a woman who is struggling with loneliness, and came here trying to figure out how to lessen the load of it, and was hoping to leave a little lighter than when she first came to this conversation.
Yeah. You right now, alone in your house, you are in your natural state. This is the most natural state you could ever be in because you were created alone. So Pastor Jay said, he said, Adam was created alone and then Eve was created alone. Had he wanted it to be a duo, he would have made it a duo from inception and then a duo till they die. But they are created alone, do life together in between, and then die alone. And they come to God one day alone. So you are in your very most natural state. So try and figure out, if I'm in my natural state, what is it that makes me feel like this is unnatural? Miss
Mm,
Moss spoke about the wounds. Is it because there is an attachment issue that I've had because of my dad?
mm,
Is it because I have a trust issue because of broken friendships? What's making me feel lonely right now is it because I haven't invested in the community that I think I don't have, but actually they're ready to be there for me? There are friends out there and love waiting for you that you haven't even tapped into because of okay, Spawami. I'm journaling to him. Oh, future husband, I can't wait to meet you. Rah, rah. And you're fasting for marriage. And you're, this is your most natural state.
mm,
This is your most natural state. Don't rush it. You'll leave this state soon. One day you will. But right now, this is very natural. This is very natural. And don't ever let anybody tell you about you're cursed or there's a blessing you're missing because you're single or because you feel lonely is because you didn't do anything, something right, or that you there's something in your life that isn't right spiritually in terms of alignment, and that's why you haven't found Makonda Nawako. That is not the truth. What is the truth? The truth is that you were created to be a helper one day,
amen.
right? To somebody who's already doing something, right? Don't let people drop your standards, right? Just because, well, you better get married so that you're respected on these streets. No, right? Respect yourself and say, you know what? I matter. As a single woman in this church, I matter. As a single woman in this family, I matter. I'm going to treat myself like I matter. And if you don't, that's your problem, right? So find out what is it in my natural state that's making me feel like my natural state is unnatural. What is it?
Mm,
Right? Is my day empty? All right,
mm,
cool. What can I do? Right?
sure.
Which we just spoke about how literally men who are 7 years younger than us are attracted to us intentionally and are wanting to date intentionally. That doesn't just happen. I don't just sit around and look this hot. Honey, I don't just visit the gym. I live there. And it could mean something different for you. Miss Marshall spoke about the fact that gym is not your thing. And it doesn't have to be. It could be something else. It could be really investing in your diet or making sure that your skincare is on lock and you know what I mean? Or it could be doing yourself up and investing in yourself and knowledge wise and education wise. It could be
Yeah.
whatever it is. For me, what works for me is making sure that I stay in the word of God, stay prayed up, and I stays in the gym. You know what I mean? That helps me. It helps my mental health as well. Like I've been pestering my friends saying, we need to go pickleball. We need to go pickleball. We bought little cute little outfits, little cute little skirts, whatever. It's fun. It's something fun for us to look forward to be out in the sun and to have fun. Are you investing in your community? If you
Mm,
want people to celebrate your birthday next year, celebrate their birthday this year.
Do unto others.
Do unto others. If you want people to celebrate your birthday next year, celebrate their birthday this year.
Yeah.
Don't miss people's milestones. It matters to them. Even if they say, it's okay, friend, it's okay if you don't make it to the bridal shower. Make it a thing. Be like, you know what? I'm gonna try my best. I know she says it's cool for me to miss it, but I'm gonna do my best. And if you can't be there, send a bouquet of flowers and a really thoughtful gift. But show up for your people. Show up for your people, and there's no way they won't show up for you. Build that community. And so I think that's, and it's so weird how my conversation always goes back to sisterhood. It always goes back. I'm in the process of asking one of my very, very close friends. I've been telling her, I'm like, we should just buy a house together
Wow.
and invest in property together and make it a home together. And if one of us gets married, it's okay. It's still an investment, or whatever it is. Or if one of us moves to another different country for a job, it's still an investment. That let's build a home because we both want homes, and want to invest in homes and have homes. Let's buy it together. It will make it easier. Things like that. I mean, now we're thinking big. I'm not just thinking let's have a coffee or a spa date. I'm thinking let's build a home.
Mm.
So this can be taken really far. Doing life together is not just aesthetic. It's not just Instagrammable dates. Sometimes it's the cry dates. At a pasta place. I remember me and my friend once, we sobbed over pasta. We didn't even end up eating the pasta. You know what I mean? And that was one of the most healing moments ever. And it solidified her in my life. And I'm sure it solidified my place in hers. So I could go on and on about sisterhood and community. But I think that's really, really important so that you don't sit around going, in this natural state, why does this feel unnatural? Why am I here? Why am I here alone? It's your house. Who's supposed to be there? It's your flat. You're renting it. You're paying the rent. Who else is supposed to be there? Who do you expect to be in your house, Miss Moss? Again, you're paying rent or you're paying your mortgage. So who must be there with you? Why is it that you put plants there to enjoy them? Enjoy that plant. Why is it that you look around and go, this is so sad. This is so sad. There's nothing sad about your life. You've built this brick by brick. Enjoy it.
Mm. And on that note of dragation, uh, I want to drag my sister, even me. I feel a bit of a cut there by that because you're touching my soul. True and true and true and true. I think we need to start living our lives and not waiting to live it when something happens, is what I'm hearing in summary. You can do the things that, the only thing I think that your husband is going to come do with you that you can't do with other people is the bedroom acrobatics.
Literally, I was just about to say it's literally sex.
Only the bedroom, only the private part collaboration. The only thing men can do for you that other people can't do for you. So please stop holding back every other thing. Be celibate. Hello, close the legs. Thanks. I'm thanks. I'm thanks. Close the
Let's
legs.
do it, Fred. Go ahead, let's finish one,
Close,
please.
close the legs, my sister. But every other thing you can still experience with your family. Some of you need to increase and tighten your family bonds with your family, with your sisters, with your brothers, with your church mates. You can have those things. You can enjoy that community. Stop waiting for Spamandla. Uspamandla is bringing bedroom acrobatics. Okay, that one, in fact, he owes you those things because you've been what? Closing the legs, closing the legs, closing the legs. All right, but do not compromise and be with somebody who will be a prayer point and not a prayer partner. Are you hearing me? I'm talking to you, my sister, because of your loneliness. It's not worth it. Somebody just put in the comments, how do you deal with being lonely in a marriage? Do you know you can be lonely in a marriage? Because you married a prayer point. You didn't marry a prayer partner.
Not your answer, not your prayer, not your answer to the prayer.
I get. So please, my sister, yes, it gets lonely. We've given you tools on how to navigate. Go try them. And it's be aware of the peak seasons of your loneliness and meet the needs you have. What's making you feel lonely? Company. Okay, go out and have company. What's making you feel lonely? You need somebody to support you when you're sick. Tell somebody, can you please come help me? I'm sick. Because sometimes we want people to read our minds. We don't live in close proximity, we don't live in close community. Can I tell you, it shocks me every day that I don't run into people I used to go to church with. in the city. I've since my divorce, I haven't run into any of them.
Yeah.
And that made me realize just how we actually have to bring ourselves into community. It's no longer where around me, my kelwani neighbor, or it's no longer like that. You have to actively take yourself into a community. So listen to everything that Tando said. Don't make
And
stupid
everything that
mistakes.
Miss Moss said.
Everything this must say, don't make stupid decisions because of your loneliness. Rather be single. And I'm going to tell you now, as somebody who's been in a place where I was lonely in a marriage, rather this loneliness you're feeling in your singlehood does not compare to the single loneliness you will feel when you're with somebody who is a prayer point and not an answered prayer. Hello, somebody. So you are in your natural state there by yourself. Okay, and if you feel like, hey, I
If
need
you
human.
think you're lonely now,
Uh-huh. What's happening now? Batung, you were serenading us and the camera is doing the things. I think it's a sign for
if you
us.
think you're lonely now, wait until you get into a marriage that God didn't ordain for you. And then you marry the person because you just want to be respected in your community and church. And then that person is not your compatibility partner and is definitely not the partner that God has for you. And
And
you will feel the real loneliness
you'll be crying yourself to sleep every night,
every
right?
night.
That
And
has
he's
said
going to
right
be right there with his spare ribs. But still, you'll be lonely.
and you're gonna wake up in the morning and go to work and be happier at work than you are at home. And
Oh.
every weekend you have to be at home.
Ooh.
I love you, Tando.
I
Thank you
love you
for
too.
gracing us
I'll
with
see you
your
at
wisdom.
Rafa.
Yeah, you're coming to Rafa.
I really hope I can. I really hope I can. There's a lot
I
of
love
moving parts in my
you.
life right now, but I hope I will
Yeah.
be able to.
And also, if you're lonely, come to Rafa. We're about to create a whole other community at Rafa. Hello. So yeah, thank you so much. I love you really. I thank God for bringing you into my life, and you teach me so much. And I know you teach also everybody else who's here so much. And I look forward to the next conversation. You guys tell us what you want us to talk about. I'll put a poll on my stories, and then you can tell us what you want us to talk about next. We'll
Awesome. And then please, Miss Moss, can you record the part where we were singing that song? And because I know you're very good with this social media stuff, record that part and put it as a story and tag me. The song that we
period.
just
I'm
sang.
gonna
There's
do
a very
it now.
important chorus. A
Yes, and
very
don't and don't worry if you missed the conversation. I'm about to save it to my page. You can catch up. It's an hour of gems and laughter and kikiing between sisters. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that edit now. Because we're trying to save the nation. Okay. Love you guys. Mwah. Enjoy your evening. Bye, Tando. I'm gonna video call you now to debrief. Don't even
all
think of.
right, cool.
Okay. Bye. Bye, you guys.